Hello, friendos. Welcome back to another Frosty Talks. So this is just going to be an entire update on Vic Mignogna. Going to kind of be a timeline and what happened this week and where do we go from here. So it's going to be kind of disheartening for me to talk about all this because number one, we'll just get into it, okay? So the timeline of events, for those of you who haven't been following this, is that Vic, what started all of this is Vic became the voice of Broly and some other Funimation characters, and Chris Sabat started talking about him behind his back, and many of the other voice actors started talking behind his back and just being two-faced about everything. So then the Broly movie dropped, and Han Leia decided that she would ask Funimations why they employ a pedo. So that sparked the Funimation investigation, and it wasn't clear on who she was talking about, but they started an investigation on Vic. They investigated a dad jelly bean joke where Monica Rial signed a jelly bean and tossed it to Vic, and Vic ate it and said, "Now I can say I ate Monica Rial." I guess fling in the Funimation offices that was consensual, according to Vic, and the third one was an investigation into something that didn't happen in Funimation offices. By the way, the first one didn't either. They both happened in cons, I should say. And so they fired him. Well, during all this, Monica was alluding to that there was more to it, and her and Ron pressured Funimations to make a statement, and finally when they did, Monica told her side of the story. And it wasn't the jelly bean joke. It was that Vic invited her back to a hotel room during a con to watch a fan video called Full Metal Fantasy. During this, he grabbed her, spun her around, kissed her, and originally she backed up and tripped, fell on the bed, and Vic got on top of her and started kissing her again. Then Stan Dolan knocks on the door. Vic gets up and answers the door, and Dolan, seeing the distress on Monica, asks her what's wrong, and she doesn't answer. At no point did she say no, and at no point did she try to stop Vic. So the later recollection is that Vic pushed her onto the bed, and so there's that. Then Marky came out and said that he grabbed her hair, whispered something sexual in her ear, and she can't recall it, which, I mean, it is what it is. And Rooster Teeth fired him. Then Ron and Monica pressured Kamea Khan to cancel Vic, stating that charges were going to come soon, and this, that, and the other. The charges never came. Kamea Khan canceled, but then re-invited Vic, and Monica made good on her threat to encourage other voice actors to not go to Kamea Khan. So they broke their original agreement, which would be tortious interference of a contract. But when they brought him back, he incurred additional changes to his original contract. But this is after legal teams got involved. So finally, I guess Vic had enough and decided to sue Monica, Ron, Funimation, and Jamie Markey. So during this, we get the affidavit of Stan Dolan, who says that he doesn't recall anything that happened in the hotel room, but he on Tug's live stream he could recall the smell, he could recall this, that, and the other. So I'm going to say his memory is pretty good. Then we get the affidavits, of the twins, who said that they grabbed their faces and kissed them. Again, no telling him no or pushing him off. They didn't push him off. But again, it is what it is as well. So we get all that, and then we finally get Chris Slatosh, the owner of Kamehacon. And he states that all of the text messages between him and Ron are true. And he also states that there was a couple of phone calls between him and Monica that also threatened all that. So it seemed like Ron and Monica were definitely going to go down for tortious interference and civil conspiracy. Then we got first we got the funny leaks, which I've already mentioned in a previous video, which shows that Funimation is not applying the rules equally. And then we get the affidavits of Chris Slatosh and Chuck Huber, which Chuck he's a brave soul, because that Funimation can ruin his livelihood. I mean, going against all this could ruin him. Either way. So we have that. Then, for some reason, they file. For some reason, the TCPAs were filed, when they were supposed to be filed, but there was some issues with filing the response to the TCPAs, and they were filed like 27 minutes late. It is what it is. They shouldn't have waited till the last minute, in my opinion. But, also I see their point. They want to make the best document that they can, and they had 1,188 pages to go through. So that's something that you can't just, edit on the fly. So it's going... And they had, such a small window to, make these documents and edit them and so on and so forth. So we get to some of the decisions, and the judge decides that he's not going to strike the amended petition, the second amended petition, which resubmitted the affidavits of Chris Slatosh and Chuck Huber as unsworn declarations, which is equally damning. It's basically a affidavit that's not sworn in. Basically, it's not notarized and stuff. But I understand that those were going to go after. Those were going to be fought over hard. I understood that as soon as they came out because they are fully damning. Like they are. So the judge didn't strike him, but he didn't want to talk about him in the TCPA hearing. And what it seems to me, and what a common consensus is, he was trying to do a evidentiary hearing instead of a TCPA hearing. So a lot of the things that he was supposed to rule on, he didn't, and a lot of things that a lot of the expectations that he had weren't supposed to be there, and the stuff that he was supposed to do, he didn't. So there's a lot of blame to go around with that. I mean, Ty wasn't his best there, and I understand that, I guess. But at the same time, I got a lot of issues with him not being fully prepared. But that also kind of comes to the idea that the judge didn't act like what he was supposed to be acting like for a TCPA hearing, so that probably threw him off. So I'm not going to dig into Ty too much, but from what I heard, the defense attorneys were on it. Like they were going to act like this was a evidentiary hearing because that's kind of what their side it needs to be like, I guess. But getting to the ruling, Marchie was completely thrown out. So she, pending appeal, she's gone out of all this litigation. Funimation had tortious interference with a contract, and future business transactions, and civil conspiracy thrown out. So they're in it for defamation. Yeah, that's right. They're in it for defamation. And tortious interference, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't agree why this was thrown out. So tortious interference was thrown out for Monica and Ron. So I don't agree with that at all, because there was obviously tortious interference. Even without the affidavit of Chris Latosh, we had those text messages that were authenticated. So something there didn't seem right. But then we go to, get to the defamation and civil conspiracy for Ron and Monica, which the judge has 30 days to rule on for all defamation, and then he has 30 days to rule on civil conspiracy for Monica and Ron. So it really didn't go our way. The I Stand with Vic way yesterday, and it was very disheartening for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons, because number one, we put our chips on Ty, and we definitely thought Vic is still innocent in all this. Like if when it comes down to it, even if he doesn't get the defamation ruling, all of it can be appealed anyway. So we could very well get Marchie back in. We could very well get civil conspiracy for all of them back in. And tortious interference for Marchie, that's going to be harder to prove, and I think tortious interference with Funimation, if Funimation is still. If Funimation still employs Monica, then that could be a thing, but I don't expect it to be. But anyway, so where do we go from here? So we lost completely with Jamie Markey. We lost 2 out of 3 with Funimation, and we lost 1 out of 3 with Ron and Monica. So we still got 2 for Ron and Monica and 1 for Funimation. Well, to be honest with you, the damage to Funimation has been done. With the Funny Leaks, with the Chuck Huber affidavit, those are pretty strong things uh, against Funimation, but I don't think the damage is very severe. The damage has been done, and they'll never be the same. But the damage is not critical. Like, uh, we know Toei's not happy, and Sony's not happy, and Shueisha is not happy because regardless of whatever comes out right now, Goku is the ambassador of the Olympics, and he is definitely he there. Goku is still the ambassador of the Olympics, but this damages all of their reputation going forward. So they have to either put out a statement, fire Sean Schimmel, or Sean Schimmel has to. This is the way I see it: is that they're probably going to have to release some kind of a statement or some kind of an apology. So that's what I'm thinking right now. But going forward, I feel like Sony, Shueisha, Toei are going to pressure Funimation to either clean house. I'm almost 100% certain that Sony's going to want to go in and clean house, especially since so much negativity has come out of this. But we'll see. I don't know how that's going to go. But Vic definitely has the advantage of the appeals. The appeals is what we really want. Is really where we're probably going to get most of it reinstated. I don't see Torch's interference with Marchi coming back at all, which I think that's not a hill that we want to die on. The hill that we really want to defend is the defamation, flat out, because we can prove malice with the I want his head, I want his, you know what, yeah. So my message to the I Stand With Vic community. I know this is the worst time for you guys. I should say us, but I don't really feel that connected with the community as a whole, because while I stand with Vic, I feel like the community was too eager to predict doom and gloom with this, and to me that's not what we should be about. We need to stay together. We need to unite. We don't need to be going at each other's throats. So, and we definitely don't need to blame Ty, because while some of this can fall on Ty, I think a majority of this is just par for the course. Because every judge is different, and we got to remember that they are human as well. But my biggest message is, guys, don't fight with each other, and don't go after Kick Vic either, because that's not what Vic wants. Vic just wants, as much as you can give him, as far as support and just standing by him. And we take our lumps just as we take our victories, because at the end of the day, Vic is still innocent of what they're accusing him of, because there is no criminal case against him. That nothing has been proven as far as what they say. So this bickering, this vitriol back and forth. That's not going to get us anywhere. We need to stay united. We need to understand that we take the wins just as we take the losses. And we don't need to be sore losers just like we shouldn't be sore winners. So that's my message to I Stand With Vic. My message to Kick Vic. Well played. You won this round. You did. You got most of it struck. And it wasn't you guys that got it struck. It was the judge. But you guys played your hand. You guys played your hand very well. And just as I said with the I Stand With Vic crowd, you guys shouldn't be sore winners. Like, we get it. Vic lost. Vic lost a lot there. But we still have defamation for Funimation and Ron and Monica. And we still have civil conspiracy from Ron and Monica. And pending appeals, we may have more. So what I say to you guys is take the win. Stop mocking Vic and stop mocking I Stand With Vic. Because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, if we take it to the appeals court and everything, or most of the things get reinstated, you're gonna have that egg on your face, and I don't think any of us deserve to have egg on our face. So you won this round, and celebrate as you celebrate as you will. But just remember that if you are gloating and if you are mocking people, a lot of times if it will come back. It will come back to you. So, number one, good job. Number two, you might want to ease up on those gloating and the mocking, because we still have appeals, and I have a good feeling about appeals. But anyway, guys, so that's the whole Vic thing in a nutshell. My final thoughts on all this is that Vic is always going to be innocent until a criminal court finds him guilty. And that's the way it goes. So you can say he's this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, if you can't point to a criminal charge, it doesn't exist. So, T. Greg, Douchette. I'm sorry. I won't. I promise I won't call anybody names. So to T. Greg Douchette, calling Vic a well-documented things, you're slandering, or well, I guess slander is spoken. You're committing libel, and you're still defaming Vic. You might want to reel that in. So these are just my thoughts. I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Yes, we took a big hit here, but it's not the end of the world. And Kick Vic had their victory for as long as that lasts. So, guys, that's all I've got for today. I'm not going to comment on anything else because I'm still kind of trying to process everything. I'm trying to think, Where does I Stand With Vic go from here? Where does Kick Vic go from here? Where does Vic go from here? And where does Monica and Ron go from here? Because everything has a consequence, just as it has a benefit. So we will see what happens from here. But until next time, guys, you remember to stay frosty.